It ain't about coffee being bad. It ain't about tea being bad. He's saying consequences, the evils and designs which exist in the hearts of conspiring men, meaning someone's going to do something bad to these things. Don't drink it because it's going to hurt you. That's all it is.
It's 100% arbitrary. It's not from God. It's the prophet said so. And I sustain the prophet.
You're an apostate!
And he has
Beat him! Beat this apostate!
I'm totally cool with that. If God is asking us to like give up something completely random, he's probably got a purpose for it.
I like thinking that there's a huge conspiracy coming, and I like Dean C89.4 as the explanation. I think the J-Dubs are right on military. I think the Jehovah's Witnesses are right. I think the Scientologists are right on pharma. I think the J-Dubs are right on military. I think we're right on all the other stuff. And then I think the Catholics are right on.
All of the scriptural references used in this episode will be brought to you by scripturenotes.com. For a free trial to Scripture Notes, please visit the link in the description. Okay. What is this that I see on my screen, Jonah? What's going on? I just see Mormon soda and Good Mythical Morning. What's happening here?
That's good. That's Good Mythical Morning. Duh, Cardin. I'm sure you subscribe to Good Mythical Morning with Rhett and Link.
Yeah, you don't know Rhett and Link?
Rhett and Link, obviously. Cardin's Quake.
No,
is a huge
actually,
fan.
you know who I thought it was in the smaller thumbnail? I actually pulled him up because I realized it was an errant publicity photo. I thought it was this guy from Ancient Aliens. You know what I'm saying? I was like, maybe he just aged a little bit.
Did somebody Photoshop his forehead to be taller in that photo to match the skull he's holding up? Look at that.
You know, maybe.
Did somebody Photoshop his brow?
That's funny. They're probably hating us already if they watch this, you know. But anyway, okay, cool. Keep going.
So Good Mythical Morning did a piece on Mormon soda. Mormon sodas, Swig and what's the other one? So Delicious.
Okay, whatever.
And they tried them, and they'd try them, and they had their studio people had their favorite drinks, and they'd roll them out, and they'd try them, and they'd comment on them or whatever, and they talked briefly about Mormonism in this one, and there's a timestamp in there. If you brought up the link from the Discord, it should be timestamped to about.
Okay, I did.
Where they discuss
like so the picture of Link that you were just mocking. Demons.
So I bet you did it degenerate into a conversation on the word of wisdom, and by that we mean every internet trope that incorrectly represents what the word of wisdom actually is.
Well, I mean,
or were they actually just pretty fun and cool guys?
No, I think they're fun. I think they're fine guys,
okay,
whatever.
cool.
But he makes a very obvious kind of observation, which a lot of people do about the word of wisdom, which is, doesn't this seem a little arbitrary? But they articulate it kind of in a funny way, and I thought it was an interesting clip. And
okay, let's check it out. We'll give these guys the benefit of the doubt, right? Never heard of them, but I think I've seen the guy on the left, but I'm already digging the guy on the right. That's some cool hair with glasses.
It's Pastor Jeff.
Dude, Good Mythical Morning is a super fun channel.
Yeah, actually,
is it really?
They really are. They're
okay,
awesome.
Good to hear. Good to hear, man. Good to hear. So here we go. Good Mythical Morning.
I can't rep because every culture likes to put things in their mouth.
And if one culture's God gets very detailed about the things that you can put in your mouth.
Yep.
And then you believe that that's how God works, then you got to go to somewhere else. And there's a God somewhere on the other side of the world who's telling people not to drink this.
Yep.
And they're listening to their God too.
Don't drink the artificial sweeteners.
And then those gods get together and compare notes. And they're
the sweeteners.
Hey, what are you prohibiting these days? Well, listen to this. Gather around, guys. If it's hot, they can't have it.
That's a lot. That's a lot of things.
No. And
what about herbal tea though?
Well, give me some time.
I love how God just all of a sudden had a Southern Savannah, Georgia man's accent. But like, okay, let's keep going.
Think about that. But also, chinos, good to wear, bad to drink.
Oh, but that is simple. Anything. So we can say anything in a chino. That's what you don't want.
If it ends in a chino, and if it has a cafe.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the pants.
He
was.
He is.
I don't even care.
Both ways.
All bad. 2 F's, 1 F. Thing over the E, no thing over the E. If you're at a cafe, just don't go to cafes.
Oh gosh.
So, all right.
Okay.
So what he's saying is he's making fun of the Mormon God. He's saying, he's particular about not drinking this or not drinking that, drawing these arbitrary lines, chinos, good to wear but bad to drink. It has a line over the E. Like, come on, this is ridiculous. What kind of a God would care?
I know it's off subject. All I can think of is watching this right now is a blast to the past of the 2010s.
Yeah,
because they've got the like the jar,
Right.
the jar with the. He's got the tonight haircut, you know that guy, and then he's got the thick frame glasses. Like, these guys are going to be serving me a shareable burger that's $15 with fries. You know what I mean? And like a chalkboard is in the back that they write the menu on. This is 2010s through and through, man.
And this is interesting. I wonder when this was recorded. So Rhett, who was doing the Savannah accent, he was recently on Alex O'Connor's show to talk about his loss of faith.
That's right.
I wonder if this...
That's why I recognize his face.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I wonder if this was like around that time or after.
It was 5 months ago.
Okay. So I wonder if he had been like... had lost his faith already, and so then this is kind of the
So
direction
he's salty on religion in general, which has probably become collateral damage of being salty on Mormons and then mocking their God as he mocked his own.
Maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
So this was
I think he
started-
might have just been trying to make some jokes, you know?
Sure,
like-
sure, maybe.
this
I don't think it's necessarily like going out of his way to stomp on Mormons.
Well, yeah, but also when I'm trying to make jokes for my buddies from Cairo, I don't just immediately start mocking Muhammad.
Well, but and I think this is worth discussing, is that he has a point. He has a point. Doesn't it seem a little strange? Doesn't? And I think everybody looks
Well,
at
but
this and they go,
the reason why I
"It's
say
kinda
no,
weird."
it doesn't seem a little strange is because it's not just some arbitrary prohibition. It's like, to me, the lampooning of this is similar to the lampooning the ex-Mormon, anti-Mormons do of tithing. And it's like, you don't get it. It's not about the how much. It's about the sacrifice thereof. Like the ancient Jews required sacrifice of their firstborn sheep, right? And sure, that some might say, well, that cost, a farmer with X amount of sheep less than it costs a farmer. No, it's not about that value. It's about the sacrifice thereof. And tithing is about, therefore, the sacrifice, right? Sometimes
And in that sense, arbitrariness is fine because it's like, well,
Yeah.
it's a sacrifice, so whatever's important to you.
And to a certain extent, I think, yes, oftentimes there's fringe benefits. And by the way, this is a problem that active members of our faith have as well in how they perceive this. Sometimes I think there's beautiful fringe benefits and secondary effects of following the dietary restrictions of many faiths.
I'm sorry, I can interrupt. Everyone in this room is wrong. I need you guys to pull up Doctrine and Covenants, section 89.
Oh,
I need you to pull it up.
Okay.
Everyone's always
Right,
wrong on
okay.
this.
Oh,
Okay, I'm pulling up
I
Doctrine
hate to be
and
the guy
Covenants.
that's got to correct the record.
Okay, cool.
And
Hit it.
while we do that, to honor Rhett and Link, can we play some Owl City with Carly Rae Jepsen?
I was going to say, their podcast started in 2012.
Yeah, this is a
Right?
relic of. I mean, they're like, these are
Owl City.
like I want to go listen to Mumford and Sons. You know what I'm saying? Like after, I want to go watch Grown Ups on Netflix with Adam Sandler.
That's funny. All right, so we've got Doctrine and Covenants. You wanted 89 here,
I
right?
believe it's
my
89
man?
or 87. I think it's
89.
Okay, so here's Doctrine and Covenants 89 on
All right,
scripturenotes.com.
Jonah, read the first verse.
I, Kwaku, having been born of goodly... No.
First verse, a word of wisdom.
Word of wisdom for the benefit of the council of high priests
assembled in Kirtland,
and the church, and also the saints in
Zion.
Okay, now someone read verse 2. This is Jesus talking. What's verse 2 say, Brad?
I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that everybody can see it because I can tell that they're having a little bit of trouble reading it on their screens.
No.
So
it says
here
it
we
is
go.
not by way of commandment. It is a word of wisdom. Is that what you're getting at?
No. Just someone read verse 2.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Just read verse 2, my man, right there.
To be sent greeting, not by commandment or constraint, but by revelation and the word of wisdom, showing forth the order and will of God in temporal salvation of all saints in the last days.
Okay, now Cardin, read 3.
Okay, I will read 3.
Round
Verse
robin.
3 says, given for a principle with promise, adapted to the capacity of the weak and the weakest of all saints, who are or can be called saints. Are you doing the Tikla Fife? This is for the weakest amongst us, so even the strong sacrifice with the weak?
No, we're getting to it.
Okay.
Jonah, next one.
Oh my gosh, my eyes.
Okay.
Can we not zoom just like a little bit here, maybe?
Yeah. What is it? What do you eat?
For behold, verily thus saith the Lord unto you, in consequence of evils and designs which do and will exist in the hearts of conspiring men in the last days, I have warned you
And forewarn you by giving unto you this word of wisdom by revelation.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
That is the verse no one ever talks about. It ain't about coffee being bad. It ain't about tea being bad. He's saying consequences of the evils and designs which exist in the hearts of conspiring men, meaning
Monsanto.
someone's going to do something bad to these things. Don't drink it because it's going to hurt you. That's all it is. That's literally it. What could that thing be? I don't know, Red 40? What could that thing be? High fructose corn syrup? Or when they literally poisoned the alcohol, killed a bunch of people during Prohibition? This D&C 89 is a preventative measure because Lord said, hey, bad stuff's going to happen. And it did. Everyone forgets verse 4. And they're like, well, if you take a coffee bean and you cut it up, it kind of looks like a penis. Like, really the issue with it is that bad things are going to happen. Look up, there's a guy named Michael Moore. He was an attorney, not the filmmaker.
Okay.
He was suing the liquor industry and basically got them to admit in court that they were putting addictive chemicals inside of alcohol that they knew would give people cancer. He proved this in the 90s and won.
Uh-huh.
So you can actually do this and like look up.
You know what else they put in beer? You know what else they put? Crazy. Have you ever heard of this?
What?
Alcohol.
Oh,
yeah. Like literal poison. Weird,
And actually,
right?
interestingly enough, Jonah, the fact that you bring that up, alcohol is quite different today than it was at the time of Joseph Smith because of the way that it ends up getting distilled and much higher content of alcohol in what we have now.
Okay, you're getting ahead. You're getting ahead, guys.
I just feel like this is such relevant information when discussing the word of wisdom, but people don't.
And quick,
You know what I mean?
want to add to what you're saying with the conspiring men. They're addictive substances and exploitative ones that tend to not treat their workers super well. Are these people growing all these coffee beans treated super well, or has that ever been a problem?
D&C 89 is a prophecy, man. And we just go, well, I don't want to be addicted. And then they go, hey, what do you mean you want to be? You drink swig every day, Kaylee Ann. What do you mean? You half
50 grams
your
of
friends are doing ketamine and Draper. I watched the show. What do you mean because it's not. It's literally a prophecy to prevent. Because that's literally how I take it.
That's
now
cool.
you guys are all getting ahead. You're all getting ahead here.
Okay, hit it.
Because we're going to do a little bit for people who are not members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who might be watching this, including Rhett and Link. Hi guys, how you doing? The section, Doctrine and Covenants section 89 that Quake was referring to is Revelation given to Joseph Smith. In it, it has our law of health. It talks about strong drink, tobacco, herb and fruits used in prudence, flesh of beasts to be used sparingly. Maybe we're going to talk about that. Grain is ordained for the use of man. You should all be eating more bagels. That's in the,
It says the baker.
that's in the Revelation, guys. It's God's word, guys. And then exercise, run and not be weary. Those are kind of the tenets of the law of health. Now, later on, somehow now we have coffee and tea. You can be drinking coffee and tea if you want to get baptized or go to the temple. Coffee and tea are not mentioned in the Word of Wisdom.
Yeah, it's a clarification that comes from Hiram Smith later.
Right. It's not mentioned in the Word of Wisdom. So Rhett and Link are right. This is kind of weird. Like, this is an arbitrary, hard, fast rule. You can't go in the temple and you cannot get baptized if you don't do this thing. And they're saying, why would God say that? The trick is, God actually didn't say that in section 89. He actually did not say that in the
Hiram
Revelation
Smith
section 89.
interpreted it.
It's a later interpretation. And
Are they right, though? I sensed a lot of kind of just like that arrogant, you're stupid if you believe vibe.
well,
there.
I mean, I guess to them, God can't require anything.
Okay.
Find me
All
a
right.
religion where God doesn't require seemingly arbitrary things.
Here's what I think this leads to.
Yeah.
Should we be eating meat?
All right. I want to get there. Sorry, I've got a lot.
Probably shouldn't. I mean, if we're being consistent, we probably shouldn't be eating meat at all.
If it's not an errant, if it's not the errant comma in the republication of the
Look,
Of the Doctrine and
By
Covenants.
the way,
it's
I
a
gotta
time of famine or winter somewhere, okay?
yeah. So
I'm just saying, Jonah, I'm going to ask you a question that Cameron Waters asked people in the Conspiracy documentary. How would Jesus kill an animal?
Ritualistically, I don't know.
Dude, I just wanted to, is there a Christ-like way to kill an animal?
Yeah,
Oh,
you'd slit the throat and drain the blood.
Yeah.
And then cover the blood with
Christ
rocks.
likely offered sacrifices, right?
Yeah.
in
his
the
lifetime.
temple. Yeah.
Probably did a lot, yeah.
Where was that?
He lived Mosaic law, bro. That's like all of it.
But he
leading
also-
up to his sacrifice.
He also said, hey, half this Mosaic law is wrong. It has been said this, I tell you this.
Yeah, but he fulfilled it all the way up.
What I'm
until-
getting to is they were sacrificing animals in the temple when he went in to cleanse it. That's what I'm getting to.
Well, Adam also sacrificed animals, but Enoch
Maybe that's a different
sacrificed animals.
podcast.
Yeah, Noah also sacrificed animals.
Also,
but-
there's also technically the scriptures never say that he gave people fish, the fish and bread.
Not even fish, man.
Apparently, it doesn't technically say that. I'm not
Okay,
kidding.
all right. So just to bring us back here,
I have a feeling that's a vegetarian conspiracy theory that I'm going to be 100% signed up for that episode. But keep going, Jonah. Keep going.
Just to bring it back here, I don't know if you can see in the Discord. I have a lot in
Yes,
the Discord.
yes. Okay,
a
so
lot
hit
of
it, hit it,
research.
hit it.
A lot of things in there. Okay, so per capita alcohol consumption was plummeting like a rock in the early days of the Restoration.
Oh, interesting.
Joseph Smith was not the first guy to say, "Hey, maybe poisoning our brains is bad." No, everybody knew poisoning your brain was bad, and it was a thing. And so this is per capita alcohol consumption in the United States from 1700 to 1998, and you can see a giant drop right there from about 7 gallons of pure alcohol per person a year down to like 2. So it was a massive drop. There was a huge. That was kind of the first. What do they call it? Abstinence. What's the movement called?
Temperance.
Temperance. Thank you.
Yeah.
The
I see
first-
abstinence.
Not abstinence. The first temperance movement.
With Saint Carrie Nation. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
just so that people know, Joseph and Hiram drank liquor in Liberty Jail.
Oh.
At the Nauvoo Temple
Well, they drank
dedication,
wine. In
which
Liberty
is
Jail, right?
spirits.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, it's different.
No,
than liquor.
spirits means it's distilled through heat. Soft drinks in the 1830 Merriam-Webster's dictionary and in the Word of Wisdom meant alcoholic beverages where the distillation was natural and thus not as hard. So beer and wine is not half as hard as distilled liquors.
Okay. Could you drink that today and get in the temple?
No, negative.
Thank you. Okay. In 1836 January, Joseph wrote about a wedding feast taking place. We then partook of some refreshments, and our hearts were made glad with the fruit of the vine, drinking wine. Then later on says, thank God that the intoxicating beverage, the bane of humanity in these last days, is becoming a stranger in Nauvoo. So everybody was aware this was a bad thing, and they're kind of trying to get rid of it. But Joseph himself was selling alcohol out of the basement of the Nauvoo mansion. Okay, there was a
Porter
tavern.
Rockwell was the bartender.
Porter Rockwell was the
there.
bartender. That would have been amazing. Actually,
I like it.
Sounds
Okay.
like a good time.
He sold that in 1863. Brigham Young says, and this is hilarious. I don't know if you can bring up this quote. This is like classic Brigham Young. I love this. Not that one. Next one. This guy. He says, if the old fogies take a little tobacco, a little whiskey, or a little tea and coffee, we will wish you boys to let it alone and let those have it who have long been accustomed to its use. It is far better for these, my brethren, who are young and healthy, to avoid every injurious habit. There are a great many boys here who are in the habit of chewing tobacco. They should stop it and take no more. They are better without it. Some may turn around and say, Father, do you think so? Yes, let the old folks have it, but you young, smart gentlemen, let it alone. So the church was perfectly aware that people were doing this after the word of wisdom was given, perfectly aware that they're doing tobacco or they're smoking or whatever. And they're saying, we get it. We know you're doing this. We're trying to phase it out. We're trying to get rid of it. Okay, this was before Heber J. Grant famously said, this is part of the temple recommend interview questions. That's when it changed. When Heber J. Grant said, we're going to include this, and they were doing it for prayer circles. That's where it started. There was a worthiness interview to get into an apostles' prayer circle. Okay, and they would ask you these worthiness interviews. Heber J. Grant then took that and said, we're going to apply that to all entries into the temple. You cannot get in the temple if you are doing, and the questions from his own prayer circle are almost identical to what today is our temple recommend worthiness interview questions. Mm-hmm. And they ask you about your testimony and do you sustain all these things, and one of them was about the law of health and the word of wisdom. Okay, so clarifications come out later. We're talking about tea, we're talking about coffee, we're talking about, and people speculate. They go, is it because caffeine? What is it? Because caffeine, and the reason that people thought it was caffeine was because caffeine can be mildly addictive. And so people thought, oh, maybe that's why. But these are kind of all speculations or whatever. The point is that the accusation that it's arbitrary, I believe, and this is just my opinion, maybe you guys will disagree, is right. It is arbitrary. It's 100% arbitrary. It's not from God. It's the prophet said so. And I sustain the prophet.
You're an apostate!
And he has,
Beat him! Beat this apostate!
And the prophet, it's his prerogative. It's his prerogative. If he says you can't go in the temple if you're drinking tea, I sustain the prophet. And if he says that, okay, fine.
Wow, Jonah. I had no clue you would label yourself an enemy of Christ by promoting your apostasy right now.
No, but I think it's a real danger when people misunderstand. They think, well, coffee and tea are evil, or people who drink alcohol are bad or evil or whatever. And you're like, well, no, actually that's not it.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden they hear about Joseph Smith or somebody drinks, caffeine or whatever, and it blows them up. And you're like, it was never about this magical elixir that makes you healthy. It's the prophet laid down the rules.
I've even heard the argument that God would choose to have it be something as arbitrary as coffee and tea just to start more conversations, right? And I can totally see that. I'm totally cool with that. If God is asking us to give up something completely random, he's probably got a purpose for it. And if it's something like that, I think that's really cool.
I like thinking that there's a huge conspiracy coming, and I like Dean C89.4 as the explanation. I think that's the most exciting one. I think QAnon is true. I think John F. Kennedy Jr. is coming back from the dead. I think
I want to hear more of this vegetarian Jesus,
actually,
who was angry that they were sacrificing animals in the temple, and then
So Kwaku.
no, there's a lot about that.
And-
Cameron Waters, Aaron Abke are really good resources for it.
Have you looked into Lorenzo Snow and the way that he was almost vegetarian?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's some. I think Kwaku's going to be in line with a lot of what Lorenzo Snow thinks.
I mean, when you think about it, what is one of the biggest sins of this modern generation? Everyone's like, the biggest sin is pornography. I got one worse: farm factories. You look at those giant dungeon prisons these animals are tortured in, and that's what we're eating. It's kind of weird that Christians don't care at all about the mass Holocaust and tortures of the animals we're supposed to be stewards over.
The chicken industry is like when they passed this law
horrific.
here. When they passed this law here about everybody just lost their crap. That chickens, we can't give them 18 inches per person. I was like, the health benefits of free range chickens that are actually allowed to walk around.
I mean, you see those videos
remember
when people will sneak into those farm factories and film it and they'll leak it online, and it literally is like, this is animal Auschwitz. This is dark stuff. No Christians care. And you kind of wonder if Jesus is like, yeah,
Well, no, it's not no Christians care. I mean, our state passed the law.
no, but very few. It isn't brought up in church. It isn't brought up. Pastors aren't talking about this. No one cares about the mass torture of animals.
I think the general ignorance of the public was actually probably the biggest.
Well, the Lord's people aren't supposed to be ignorant.
Well, yeah, but
supposed to be
I live in
smart.
California where Zion really is, not Salt Lake City.
True.
Yeah.
Keep
no,
going.
I see what
Joe.
you're saying, Kwaku. Because
No, it is like a weirdly overlooked. It's like war. It's like a weirdly overlooked thing where you're like, hey,
Who gets me?
Pastor, isn't it?
You're a pacifist. Nobody gets you.
Hey, Pastor, Pastor, is it wrong for us to kill 1 million people in the Middle East and mass bomb?
And he goes,
Hell no! This is the Lord's country. It's like literally, they would have military recruiting at the Baptist churches in Texas, and I'm like, something tells me Jesus doesn't want you to go do that. Something tells me why are you? Well, George Bush needs me to go kill these people. What?
Careful.
What do you-
Cardin loves war. It's his favorite thing.
I got
it really is.
Careful. He loves
He was
I've
telling
got-
me about it yesterday. He was like, I want
If
more.
you're not
foreign
willing to
wars.
serve your country, then
See? Loves it.
Yeah, I'm sure Nimrod
I'm trying to
said
remember
the
the
exact same
quote from
thing.
Hayden Jackson Paul.
I'm sure Nimrod said the same thing in Babylon. If you're not willing to serve your country, are you really Are you truly?
So you and John
Babylonian?
MacArthur would be besties, bro. You and John
Oh, is
MacArthur
he?
would
Is
be
he?
besties.
I think the J-Dubs are right on
big
military.
time.
I think the Jehovah's Witnesses are right. I think the Scientologists are right on pharma. I think the J-Dubs are right on military. I think we're right on like all the other stuff. And then I think Catholics are right on. Oh, the ceremony for electing the Pope. That's cool. If we had like a cool ceremony for the prophet, that'd be awesome.
That was a long pause.
That's funny. That's
Long pause.
Well, okay, have you seen the thing where... Oh, I shouldn't say it. Oh, actually, they make fun of us. Everyone's like, oh, your garments, your temples, whatever. Have you seen the ceremony? It's either Catholics or the Orthodox, where they're dressed like wizards, and they're like walking like this with some giant stick, and there's like smoke coming out, and I'm like, how is that not weirder? That's weird.
Because that happens, I think, way more often in like European nations, and so people like don't see it as much.
Look, let me just say, if as not even more as a black person, if I go anywhere and I see 5 dudes with pointy hoods swaying back and forth with a giant mystical stick and smoke, I'm getting the hell out of there.
Alarm bells are going
Zero
off.
chance I'm staying in that place. And for some reason, that's not considered weird.
And here Brad's like, now, hold on quicker. Now, before, you got to understand.
That's
I'm out of here.
No, I'm not going to. And by the way, same thing. This is an old Patrice O'Neill joke. He says, white people, if you're in a bad part of town you're not supposed to be in, you see 3 black guys walking toward you, run. Don't be racist and alive than be accepting and dead. And he says, if I'm in a part of the South or I see a 3 bald white guys walking toward me, I'm not going to assume they've got leukemia. I'm going to say those are skinheads and I'm getting out of here. I'd rather feel guilty and alive. It's a great joke.
That's funny. That's funny. All right. So, Jonah, do you have more, or is that pretty much it?
Well, I just think the message is, why is that in the Temple Recommended Interview Questions? Why is that in our baptismal questions? It is not. I don't think it is because God hates caffeine or tea or something. I think that's kind of silly. Even Bruce R. McConkie in 1966, he said, the word of wisdom is not the gospel, and the gospel is not the word of wisdom. There's no prohibition against the eating of white bread, using white flour, white sugar, cocoa, chocolate, eggs, milk, meat, or anything else except items classified under the headings tea, coffee, tobacco, and liquor, as enumerated by Heber Jaber.
With that said, I just found out what enriched flour really is, and I never want to touch that crap ever again, man. Holy smoke.
Oh yeah, was it what is it, niacin? The way that they put in extra minerals and stuff?
Yeah, well, everything that they like spray it with and then call it enriched, man. Our industrialized food supply, I think I'm responsible for the first roll, but I think the industrialized food supply is like responsible for the second and the third. So anyway, all right, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's keep this conversation going. Thank you very much to Good Mythical. It's not Morning. I guess it's Good Mythical More now. That's what the name of the channel is called, at least here. I'm looking at the bottom. It's Good Mythical More. So thank you guys very much for launching this conversation because, we're able to continue it here. If you guys want to contribute to the channel, please make sure that you buy a shirt at the Ward Radio merch store. Also, we've got available the very popular and awesome War in Heaven veteran shirts. You can check those out there as well. And as always, for this and more, please make sure you guys... Wait, Brad, we didn't pub your book. Brad!
In the episode where we talk about how factory farming is the worst thing possible.
You know what? All of the dragons in Brad's book have been treated ethically according to the Dragon Advocacy Group. You know what I'm saying? And they eat healthy grass-fed humans whenever predating upon Homo sapiens.
That's true.
So
it makes for better meat, healthier, happier dragon meat.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
right.
So links to his book will also be in the description. For this and more, please make sure you guys check us out at wardradio.com.